Hi y'all, welcome back to our series on the good life. In this video, we'll explore the views of John Stuart Mill, one of the most important philosophers of the 19th century. Mill believed, like his teacher Jeremy Bentham, that happiness is the foundation of a good life. But Mill made an important refinement. Not all pleasures are created equal. Some pleasures, he argued, are higher, more worthy, more fulfilling, more truly human than others. John Stuart Mill lived from 1806 to 1873. A philosopher, economist, businessman, and reformer, Mill studied under Jeremy Bentham, who we talked about in the previous video. Mill admired Bentham's moral clarity, but thought his version of happiness was too simple. For Mill, the good life isn't just about feeling good, it's about being good in a distinctly human way. The core of Mill's view. Actions are right in proportion as they tend to promote happiness, wrong as they tend to produce the reverse of happiness. Like Jeremy Bentham, John Stuart Mill defined happiness as pleasure and the absence of pain. But unlike Bentham, he believed that the quality of pleasures matters, not just the amount. The good life, then, is one in which we pursue the pleasures that engage our higher capacities, the pleasures of the mind, the heart, and the spirit. Higher and lower pleasures. It is better to be a human being dissatisfied than a pig satisfied. Better to be Socrates dissatisfied than a fool satisfied. That is one of Mill's most famous statements, and it captures his vision of a good life. Even if intellectual or moral pursuits sometimes bring frustration, they are of a higher nature than mere physical pleasure. A human being, he insists, would never trade the joys of understanding or friendship for the comfort of ignorance. So when we talk about higher and lower pleasures, what Mill is saying is that there are certain things that will bring us higher pleasures. And those higher pleasures are pleasures that are related to intellect, imagination, moral feeling. He said studying philosophy, like Epicurus said that. Those are higher pleasures. The lower pleasures are those that are bodily, or they give us sensory enjoyment. So like eating chocolate cake, if you like chocolate cake. So Mill says that these higher pleasures are those pleasures that use our distinctly human faculties. And that's why it is that they make for a good life. So with this idea of why it is that higher pleasures matter, we have this quote from Mill. It is quite compatible with the principle of utility to recognize that some kinds of pleasure are more desirable and more valuable than others. So for Mill, higher pleasures matter because they express what is best in human nature. Reading, creating, discussing ideas, forming deep friendships. These kinds of experiences refine our judgment and they expand our understanding. The more we exercise our rational and emotional capacities, the closer we come to genuine well-being. So with these higher pleasures, what we're doing is we're cultivating those moral and intellectual capacities. And Mill thought that when we do that, that best reflects our full humanity. The test of preference. Mill believed that the test for what counts as a higher pleasure is simple. Ask those who have experienced both. Those who know both kinds of pleasure, for example, physical comfort and intellectual growth, consistently prefer intellectual growth, even if it comes with more effort. This test grounds Mill's theory in experience and not speculation. The role of cultivation. For Mill, living well doesn't mean satisfying every desire. It means cultivating ourselves so we can appreciate the best kinds of happiness. Education and freedom are essential to this process. They allow us to grow, to refine our taste, and to choose the kinds of pleasures that lead to flourishing rather than emptiness. Mill's good life. Mill's concept of happiness is generous and expansive. True happiness, he says, cannot be selfish or shallow. It's the joy that comes from living thoughtfully, morally, and freely, contributing to the happiness of others as part of one's own flourishing. This, for Mill, is what makes life truly good. So when we look at Mill's good life, we need to think about these different aspects of it. So the idea of flourishing, it's happiness through moral and intellectual experience. We need to have this balance of pleasure, virtue, and freedom. And we need to remember that the aim of human life is to have this sort of rich and reflective satisfaction. It's not just about that yummy, yummy chocolate cake. Now let's take a look at a few criticisms and questions about Mill's theory. Critics have asked whether Mill's distinction between higher and lower pleasures is too subjective or even maybe elitist. I mean, who decides what counts as a higher pleasure? Can a philosopher's appreciation of art really be compared to a worker's enjoyment of rest? Mill responded that the point isn't to exclude anyone, it's to elevate everyone through cultivation and education. So some of these questions are, can we really measure quality in pleasures? Is it elitist to value some pleasures more? And can the many appreciate the higher? We close this lesson reflecting on Mill's challenge. Not all happiness is created equal. What kinds of pleasures do you value most? And what does that reveal about the kind of life you believe is worth living? So our reflection prompts here are, do you agree with Mill that some pleasures are higher than others? Or is all happiness equal regardless of its source? What does your answer say about what you think a good life really is? All right, y'all, that is all for this video, and this video concludes our series on the good life. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you haven't seen the other videos, go ahead and take a look at those that are posted on our channel. If you're interested in other videos about philosophy and ethics, take a look at the videos posted on our channel. Thank you so much for watching. Y'all have a great day.